Hi folks, in this episode I'm going to talk to you about something a little bit different. It's to do with sailing, but it's a bit of a hack on how to repair a Raymarine smart controller. So we've got this Raymarine Smart controller which is used for our autopilot, and it's a little bit easier than using the control panel. For one, our control panel's on the opposite side of the helm from where I generally sit, so if I want to put the autopilot on or off I've got to move each time, whereas with this I can either wear it round my neck on the lanyard or I just have it hung over the back of the seat. And if I want to engage autopilot I can just press the button. I can easily go on the mode switch, change it from following the wind to changing to a heading to a little auto tack as well. So it's brilliant. The problem we've had, it's worked flawlessly until last year, and the problem was it will only work when it's plugged in to the 12-volt supply, which gives it a very small room. So whereas before, if we're motor sailing and we wanted to go and sit up front of the boat, just take this with you, and if you need to change direction you can just change direction on this. Lazy way of sailing, I know, but we'd only do that in extremely calm conditions when we're just on the engine. But yeah, the problem was as soon as you took the 12-volt out, the battery lasted about, I don't know, 2 minutes, and it's got to the point now where I can't even switch it on. If you can hear it, it won't even switch on the 12 volts on the built-in battery. So I've been online and done quite a lot of research, and Raymarine suggest that for replacement batteries you have to send it back to their company and they will charge you around about £120 to replace the batteries. I don't know if shipping's included in that, because when I saw £120 I thought there's got to be an easier way. So there is. I took it apart. There's 4 screws, just small Phillips screws or crosshead screws, whatever they are. But then Raymarine have put these tags in which they say needs a special tool. Well, stay tuned and I'll show you what that special tool is. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is take out these 4 screws. So small Phillips. Okay, so they're only very small, so let's just put them over there where they're going to be safe. Okay then, as you can see, it won't pull apart because of these tabs here. So what you need to do is get yourself some kind of little bladed instrument, and a little hobby of mine is lock picking legally, and I've got an actual lock pick which basically pushes down there and it just disables the clip. And this is probably the special tool that Raymarine say you need. So all that, what secures it inside is that little tab, and basically what you do, you have to push that down and just ease it out, and now we're trying to push it down the wrong way. Okay, so we get this out, open it up, be careful not to touch any of the circuitry board, and we've got a tiny little wire here, and all we need to do is pop that out. It'll only go in one way so you can't get it in the wrong way, and we're going to put that somewhere safe. And then all we've got is this battery here, and if you read it, there's 2 1.2 volt rechargeable batteries inside. They're AA size, but they fasten together. Now I did try getting a normal AA battery, soldering across the terminal, but the problem is you can't solder normal batteries. So this is the way around it. Okay, so how do we get around that little battery? One of these and one of these. Oh, this massive packaging. It's like one of these open the box videos, isn't it? And there we go, the contents with the receipt. Now bearing in mind I told you that Raymarine are charging around about £120. This cost me £7.92, £1.90 I think that's tax. So total price of €9.82. And basically what we have here is two AA batteries, 1.2 volts, total voltage of 2.4 volts. Now these are 1600 milliamps, these are 2500 milliamps, so they're going to hold a bit more charge. But as you can see, same diameter, same length, and I bet a pound to a penny that'll fit into the box. Now the reason I ordered this particular one is because, as I said before, you can't solder to the contacts on a battery, but these come with these solder tabs on. So all we're going to do is take this battery, disconnect the connectors, solder them to this, and hopefully that should now power the Raymarine. Let's have a go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to heat my gas soldering iron up, and while that's heating up, I've actually not got my sponge, but we can do without it. So what we're going to do is take the wires off the Raymarine battery. So very carefully I'm just going to split this open. And we will see how this is connected. So to the negative terminal, we've got a little resistor in there, so we're going to keep that on. I'm not sure what it's for, and all we're going to do is take the positive off of here, and we'll put the positive onto here. We'll take the negative on there, put it onto there, and put it back together. So on this battery we just need to take off the covers. Just need a little bit of pliers to pull them off. So looking at the battery, this is the positive side, that's the negative side. So we'll do the positive first. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to apply a little bit of heat to this. When it gets hot enough, I'll quite simply take it off. And the same with the negative. And take it off. Okay, so that's the positive side. So I'm just going to tin this. I'm going to put a little bit of flux onto it. That's that side done. A bit of flux on this side. And we'll tin this one. There we go. Fine. So bearing in mind this is the positive. This is already tinned. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to get a little bit of heat shrink and I'm going to put it over this for when it's on there. Okay, so I've cut myself a piece of heat shrink, put it on here. Now ideally use a size what just goes over the wire, but I've got to get it over these little lugs. So let's put on the positive first. So a little bit of solder onto there. Just check that that is the positive one. Yeah. Now we're just going to heat it up. And there we go. Same on the negative side. Probably easier to do it like that. Just put a little bit more on there because there we go. So they're now soldered on. Put the heat shrink on. Heat shrink on this side. Actually the blue is just a little bit smaller. Come on. There we go. And then let's just shrink that down. One good thing with this gas soldering iron is that you can use the little flame on it. And there we go, it shrunk it up. Same on the positive. Careful not to burn it. I think that's about as much as that's going to shrink up. But there we go. That is now fastened on. Turn that off. And we can now, I'm just going to let this cool down for a couple of minutes and then we'll put it back in and see what happens. Okay, we've got some tape. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of this around the terminals, because bearing in mind we're in a marine environment and things can get damp down there. Okay, so hopefully this will now fit back into the housing. That's into there. Let let's connect this back together. Just make sure we get the screen on correctly. There's a little plastic insert inside the screen, and you've just got to make sure, tell you what, that sits there in the right place. Okay, I'll put the screws in a second, but let's see. Fingers crossed. It should come up with an alarm saying that it can't find a network because we've not got the thing switched on. But there we have it. Saying no pilot because we're no pilot connected. So let's just turn on the instruments. So the instruments are now turned on the main nav table. We're on standby. I have the helm. All the different modes seem to be working. Standby. Depth of water what we're in at the moment, and then we can go through all the menu. Obviously all the instruments are switched off at the minute. So Raymarine, 110 quid for some £6 batteries or €10 batteries? I don't think so. If you've got a Raymarine, you can do this as well. Don't throw it away. Don't send it off for service or for replacement batteries, because that has just saved me £100. Hope you found it useful. See you next time. Bye. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you've really enjoyed it, why not consider becoming a subscriber to our Patreon page, where we've got over 60 patron only videos just for you. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. See you next time.